Okay, so can I give my take on feminism? Well, obviously that's a big subject. One thing that I say is there is never any movement in history which is purely a step back, right? So God, God utilizes everything, even ideologies which are, to say the least, less than fully accurate, utilizes everything to grow up and mature the human family. And we see in scripture and history that protology, that is the beginning of things, corresponds with masculinity. Remember, masculinity and maleness are different but related things. We all have masculine and feminine aspects to ourselves. Maleness and femaleness is a particular sort of masculinity and femininity. But the beginning of things, the beginning of an era in history, the beginning of, let's say, the book of Revelation corresponds to the bridegroom. So Christ appears at the beginning of the book of Revelation in language taken from the Song of Songs. And at the end of the book of Revelation, you have the bride. And the bride is described in the characters that, the characteristics that picked out the bridegroom at the beginning of the book. So it's said that the glory of God is possessed by the church as the city of God, as the bride of God. At the beginning of the book of Numbers, we have a list of the heads of household, the fathers. But at the end of the book of Numbers, we read of examples of inheritance through the daughters of Zelophehad. We have maleness to femaleness, bridegroom to bride, masculine to feminine. God is in relation to creation. The masculine creation is in relation to God, the feminine. We are in relation to creation, both male and female, masculine. And we are in relation to God, both male and female, feminine. Think about what does it mean to take care of animals? It's animal husbandry. So I think that it's clear that I don't think we're at the end of the world, but we're at the end of an era. Things are, God always builds the world step by step, brick by brick, from top to bottom. So it doesn't seem to me to be an accident that it's at this moment in history that we have the question pressed upon us about the nature and the characteristics, the qualities of femaleness, which give us insight into the nature and the characteristics and the qualities of femininity, which is something which we all have and which exists in God. Right? God is neither male nor female, but he has in his relations masculine and feminine relations, because masculine and feminine are kinds of relation. Okay, so the father moves towards the son, and the son receives the movement of the father and reciprocates that movement. So when we're looking at the relation in the two of them, the father is masculine, the son is feminine. That's why in the book of Proverbs, the son is described in terms that are taken from bridal terms. Think about children, right? So all children begin in a more feminine form. All children are the ones who receive and reciprocate the love of their parents. Both bridegroom and bride are masculine in relation to their children. All children start with high voices like this, which I can't even do. They're more feminine as they grow. Certain children, the male children, become more masculine like this. When I was 12, I actually started on YouTube when I before my voice had dropped. I did not sound like a young boy. I sounded like a little girl. So little bit of trivia right there. So on feminism, there are obviously a lot of problems because people mean different things by feminism. All human persons are equally human, and insofar as they are equally human in virtue of their nature, we all have the same nature. Of course, they're equally valued in the eyes of God. Male and female. Maleness and femaleness are two different ways of being human, which God creates us with. But, obviously, insofar as feminism implies a rejection of that which distinguishes maleness and femaleness, and insofar as it implies a rejection of the divinely ordained structure of the family, it's something which one cannot accept or embrace. But I do think it's by God's providence that these questions are kind of pressed upon us so that we can think through more deeply the relations of men and women. I would recommend, actually, if you want both a very traditional and a very kind of astute, creative, in the good sense, Christian look at maleness and femaleness and sexual distinction in the human family, I would recommend reading Alistair Roberts. So Alistair's Adversaria, let me get the link for you. He is writing a book called Heirs Together, which is a reference to what St. Peter says about marriage, which he's been writing for ages. So when he does publish it, it will probably be the best book of which I know on this subject.